There is no industry filled with more wildness, shenanigans, misinformation, and quite frankly, manipulation than the beauty aesthetics industry. And in today's episode, we are going to peel back the curtains of this industry, what it really takes to make money as a beauty professional, and what types of tactics and things that are going on so that you can notice it for yourself, whether you're a consumer or a practitioner. And even if you're not in the beauty space, you're going to be able to apply so many of the things that my guest and I are talking about today to your own business. So you can actually make real cash and not be living in the fantasy land that so many people want you living in order to buy more of their stuff. My guest today is Anisah Mohamed. She is the founder of the Aesthetic Loft. She's been on both sides of the table. So, been an aesthetic beauty professional, and now she teaches other people in this beauty space how to truly build their business in a way that feels good to them, but that it's sustainable and that it actually grows without them spending a fortune on getting more certifications and getting more things and doing more stuff and adding more stuff. It goes along with everything I'm talking about lately and really telling you about inside my brand new workbook, Make More, Work Less, is that you don't need to be doing all of these things in order to grow an incredible business in this space. I want you to hear some of these stats, okay? So in 2023, this medical aesthetics, beauty aesthetics area, so basically all the things that I do to my skin and why my face doesn't move, chemical peels, lasers, injections, permanent makeup, all that stuff, is expected to be worth 15.4 billion by 2028, almost $30 billion, and it's expected to be 54 billion by 2028. This industry just continues to grow, continues to ramp up. And if you have any interest in being in it, you are in it, you want growth in it, you want to know what the hell is going on with it, we're going to tell you what's up today and simplify everything for you. And fun, quick fact about me, I used to run the second largest dermatology group in the entire world. I was their national director of sales, and then I got hand selected to be their CEO to turn this company around to position it for sale. So my other business that I've had for 16 years that's in medical marketing, digital marketing for pharmaceutical companies, for laser companies, for cosmeceuticals, all of that is heavily in the plastic space, as in plastic surgery, in beauty product space, in this aesthetic space, and dermatology. So, wanted you to hear that background because let me tell you something. I know what's going on from the medical side as well, because I was the one in charge of all the marketing of it. So you are really going to get an eye-opening experience from this episode, and we can't wait to hear what you think about it. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your mindset, your relationships, and everything in between. I recently discovered something after coaching more than 150,000 people worldwide in all different industries, all different niches. And it is that in the aesthetic professional space, the beauty space, anything that involves any form of just beautifying, there is a dark side that needs to be addressed. And how I discovered it is I had several back-to-back clients, people in my mastermind, people in my posse membership, all spiraling at the same time because of the drama that goes on in this space. And I was like, this can't just be a coincidence. There has to be more to it. And so I knew I had to have you on because I know how blunt and direct you are and how many years of experience you have in this field as a mindset and business coach for people in the aesthetic space. What do you think it is? Like, I'm not just imagining it, right? Like, there's just a lot of lack of support with fellow aesthetic professionals. It's like catty, cutthroat competition, people stealing each other's content, intellectual property. There's a lot of like scarcity fear type behaviors that go on in this field. What the hell is it?
I think it's the fact that this industry has been painted in this very Louis Vuitton, Chanel space on social media. And that has caused the attraction of a lot of people who are expecting that to be the results when they come in here. The biggest gap that I see is the self-development, self-journey space. A lot of people who come into this aesthetic industry don't know themselves. And in the pursuit of money, it is easier to copy than it is to put in the work of that self-discovery.
Interesting. So, have you had a lot of experiences with people who have, been clients or students of yours or even peers where you've had to have hard conversations with people and like give people like, a loving like reality check?
Absolutely. I've had to refuse clients simply because if you are in this industry strictly to make the money, it's not a mindset issue, right? You need a strategist, you need a consultant, you need an advisor. They are going to give you the strategy, you are going to execute, and you will make your money as a result. My purpose here is to work with the ones who are in it for the passion, for the long run, who understand that self-discovery journey, much of what you talk about in terms of intention setting and manifestation and understanding that there is more to business than just the strategy. Those are my people. You say that you mentioned the lack of support from fellow injectors. And we both know the lack of confidence in who you are is what leads to the judgment of others. And it's always easier to keep our fellow injectors comfortable because once they start to excel, that means we need to take a deeper look at ourselves. And then that forces us to say, well, what am I doing wrong? How come she's going to the top? So let me just tell her the economy's doing bad. People aren't investing in beauty. You're doing everything right now. It's just not because of you. It's everything outside of you. They get to stay comfortable and they get to keep their fellow injectors in the same place. And it's easier to pull them down than it is to help them rise.
Wow. I mean, I'm not saying this doesn't exist, obviously, in other industries, but I really wanted to peel back this space. And so you're saying, just in your assessment, that the root of it is because so many people who have already been in the business are using fantasy marketing to get other people in the business. It's very glamorous looking. Look at the car I drive. I'm doing this, that, and the other. I'm working for this prestigious doctor. And then people follow that shiny object and get quickly disillusioned because it's not like a magic trick that all of a sudden you pay to be certified or you learn how to do this, that, and the other. And then all of a sudden you post a few videos and like you're rolling in the cash.
That is exactly what social media sets the expectation of. And so you get beauty experts coming into the space or aspiring experts thinking that this 2-day, 2-month course is the only thing you need to accomplish, is the skill is the only thing you need in order to be successful.
I see what you're saying. It's like whether it's permanent makeup, whether it's lashes, whether it's injecting, whether it's dermaplaning, whatever your thing is, they chase all these courses, right? Oh, I just need to add another service. Oh, I need to do this advanced course, which of course the people who are making money off the courses are telling you need to do this. But then you have responsibility too, right? Because then as a consumer, you're telling yourself the lie that this is all I need to do. But that would be like me going and paying for a Harvard MBA right now and expecting I just walk out and there's like all these job offers, or all of a sudden everything I touch turns to gold. It's like, it's almost like these people are gaslighting themselves.
And I think it actually comes down, Tiffany, to your level of self-awareness. We can sit here today because we've done the work. We are self-aware and we can see gaslighting when it is happening. But people that come into this space who have not gone that journey of self-awareness, aren't even aware that that's something that exists, end up in this hamster wheel of this fantasy marketing world. I take the course. They tell me I need to shift my mindset, that I'm fixed and I should be growth. I leave and I'm activated. And I get home and I was like, shit, nobody told me what I'm supposed to do. So I'll just go back and take another course. Oh, same thing. I go and I'm with a group of people, your reference group, who you surround yourself with. Same conversations are happening. You feel activated and you leave. You come home and you're like, I still don't know what to do. I must need another course.
Meaning they put it on themselves. It must be me. I must be missing something. I must be doing something wrong. I must not be that smart. I must not be cut out for this. I must need more, 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 more. And then it just perpetuates that cycle. But is there something in this particular industry that attracts more of it, or you think it's because there's a lot of glam involved and like external factors in the beauty industry?
I do believe the people that are attracted to this space or come to this space, in my world in particular, I deal with a lot of healthcare professionals. So we're dealing with the medical aesthetic world, the cosmetic injection world. If we think about where they came from, so if it's a hospital setting, their hardwiring in their brain is protocol, trainings. The more I learn, the more advanced and more promotion I get. And when they come into this entrepreneurial space, they are expecting the same.
And their patients, and depending on their specialty, clients, patients, are handed to them.
That's right.
And
And
that is not something, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's not something that maybe there's like a small course of that in their training, in their degree, in terms of like marketing, in terms of like running a practice, or there's nothing. So they have no idea.
whatever's being offered in their training currently is very surface level. And you and I both know surface level does not get you very far. That's something you can find on YouTube. You can find it on Google. And in fact, the training institutions that are providing a lot of these clinical trainings themselves don't know anything, right? This spiritual space, this energetic space of the entrepreneurial world is almost foreign to our healthcare providers. So they have zero exposure until they start to find somebody like myself or somebody like you. The light bulb clicks and they're like, oh, wait, I am missing something.
Why do you think so many healthcare professionals are wanting out of conventional healthcare and wanting to start their own businesses when they've really not been exposed to the truth and what it takes to have a business?
I think they see a lot of their friends a lot of social media who has made it look like all they did was take a course and now they're very successful with full books. Nobody is bringing exposure to the in-between space.
Well, it doesn't sell, does it? It's not very sexy.
So this is our fantasy marketing world that we are back to.
That's why I always say, if I could ethically do that, my company would probably be worth 8 to 10 times more, because you would have more buyers. I can't go down that path. But this has been going on since the beginning of time, right? We have this with medications, we have this with weight loss supplements. This is going on with Ozempic, my favorite topic lately. It really is everywhere. And I feel that it might be hard to hear for listeners, but in order for you to have the best success, you guys have to hear the reality is that we have to own our part. What is their part they have to own? That they've gone back, taken courses, that they feel like they're trying everything, nothing is working. Then they get on a call with you, or they interact with you somewhere, they meet you somewhere, and they dump all the things that they've tried. Nothing is working. I've heard people spending 60 grand, 100 grand. People have all this money going out in a leased space, and they're just getting more and more buried, yet they don't know what they're missing. There is no plan. When I ask them, what is your system to attract ideal clients and convert them into paying you on repeat? There isn't one, even after spending all that money. And then they say to someone like you or someone like me, I don't have any more bandwidth or to spend more money. I'm afraid to spend more because all this other money I spent hasn't paid off. So, well, now what? Now what do they do? And there's a lot of people in this exact spot, but it's like, well, you either have to cut your losses and be done, or you have to double down. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you have better advice than me.
No, I think you nailed it. This is no longer a space that I can afford to be in, or I am going to double down on myself. The first thing I ask them when they come in, though, before you double down, is this even what you really want?
Ooh. Okay. Let's unpack this. If you were to put a percentage on it of all the people you encounter that you've asked that question to, or you just have like intuitive spidey senses about, what percentage of people, it's not really what they want to do? They just sounded something easy to do for the money.
50%.
Wow. I wasn't expecting you to say that.
And I can say that with confidence because a lot of people who come into this space subconsciously don't even know why they are coming into this space. But as we start to unpack and dig deeper, is that they are living up to an expectation of holding up their medical status outside of the hospital to continue to please family, friends. And it's almost like I cannot fail. I left a 5-figure, 6-figure job to come here, and I must prove myself, despite if this is what I love to do or am I passionate about. And then they end up in this hamster wheel of spending the money. But as you and I both know, if the energy and the passion isn't behind what you are doing, it doesn't matter how many courses or who does your strategy.
It doesn't. And people can feel it. I won't say the type of practitioner in case she's listening, but I have a full team on this face of mine. Okay. Like I've been frozen in time, and there's a new person with a professional designation that I've been seeing, and I'm very intuitive like you. I can pick up on stuff. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. She's not bad at what she does, but I felt she was going through the motions, right? And then my last session with her, I went, she doesn't want to be doing this. She's not in this. And the reason I know is because I've gone to other practitioners for things. Let's just say, like a massage therapist, for example. Like, you can tell when someone really cares and they're really into it. And she was just slapping on shit and using fancy devices. So people can feel that, even though she's pleasant and smiling and all and is knowledgeable, she's really not into it. So you're not going to even be able to maintain clientele. And let me tell you, I'm an ideal client. Okay. Who want me on your books? I'm the person who has like the standing appointment. And you're not, is that kind of what you're saying? Is like, they might not realize, or they might feel like they're faking it or pulling it off. But the reality is energy can't be faked.
And I love that you say that, because one of the biggest gaps in this industry, Tiffany, is they don't know why their clients actually buy. They make the assumption that because they hold this skill set, that is why clients are coming to them.
Like, it's because I have this designation, I have this skill, or there's not that many people in my area doing this particular thing.
And that's what makes them bring in high-end energy devices when they have no idea if their clientele wants it.
And some of these things are like leasing a Bentley.
Yeah.
Like these lasers and shit, they're like 300 grand.
Yeah. And then you can be caught up in the fantasy of world of the clients will come because I have these devices.
Meanwhile, 99.9% of people don't even know the name of that particular device. It's not like they're Googling this device.
That's
That's
right.
like a very rare type of person who's probably a little bit of a psychopath who's doing that. That's not really a client you want. That's someone who's like going to end up on that show Botched.
That's right. And so imagine what would happen if there was actually a practitioner or a clinic that understood why their clients bought. When you are in that mindset and that energy, there is no competition. You can all have the exact same products and services, which they do. I mean, let's be real, Botox, filler, lasers, they all do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So now you need to figure out why your clients are going to choose you beyond the services that you're providing.
The other person I was seeing, using this as an example, her place that she worked at, it's like a Medi Spa, it shut down and she was always booked. Amazing. Did they have the best equipment? No. Did they even have some glamorous treatment room? No. She did all the extras, even shit that I know for sure she wasn't paid to do. And you could tell her nurturing energy, she really loved it. She was meant to do it. And if I right now knew she was available to do it from my house, I don't even know if it's legal, do it from my house, I would pay her I'd pay her $500
Yep.
like to come here because of that. And I wouldn't even care if her ass used baby oil on me. You know what I mean? It wasn't about, oh, what is it called when your back bar? Oh, that's another scam. Oh, well, you've got to have Obagi on your back bar. You've got to have this on your back bar. And then you've got to have all this on your back bar. No one cares. Like, the people who care are, you seem to care as the practitioner, and maybe your peers that you follow on social media, but like your end customer, I just care that it's like high quality stuff.
So who are you building your business for is the question that they need to ask themselves. They can get so caught up in what other people think, what other people are doing, that they end up making these financial decisions.
I love going back to your question of like, do you really want this? And even though we're talking a lot about the whole aesthetic world, you guys, this applies to everything, really. I'm interrupting this interview for an important message that you were meant to hear today. This is for my overgivers, my overdoers, my overcompensators, my over everythingers. I know that you're so fed up with living like this and you don't know how to get off the hamster wheel of it. You tell yourself you're going to try. You tell yourself you're going to figure it out. You look at people like me. You scroll and look at other people who are making a lot more money doing something they love and having it be on their terms and their schedule, giving you the freedom and the options that you want, but you don't know how to go from where you're at now to getting to that spot. Well, this is why I created my Make More, Work Less guided workbook course. This is your ticket to cash in without the crazy hustle. This does not need to be your vibe anymore. This is 16 years of my cumulative education, studying, testing, implementing, refining these practices that are going to have you transform your money story and reality in less than 7 days. And right now, you can grab it at our special launch price. It's on a limited drop. So the first 200 people get $200 off. You can go to projectmewithtiffany.com/make more work less. projectmewithtiffany.com/make more work less. Swipe up, it's in the show notes. And if you're watching on Project Me TV on YouTube, it's right inside the description. Let's ditch that grind for good, amp up the fun, and we get to make more while doing less. But how does someone know if it's something they want? Because if you've really convinced yourself, especially if you've gone to school for something or you've invested a lot of money in something, we tell ourselves something enough, we can believe it to be true. And I'm guilty of it too. We can really convince ourselves of something. Are there any signs that could at least hint to people like maybe you need to explore if this is something you really want to do?
I think this leads back to a question that you asked me earlier in the podcast, and it relates back to the responsibility of the provider, right? We can put blame on everything outside of us. The training was terrible. The economy sucked. The product didn't work. But the responsibility at the end of the day is right back home. It's within you. And when you start to blame others outside of yourself, you're giving away your power. So the question is, when you start to take responsibility for yourself, what are those questions, those hard questions that you need to sit and maybe start journaling on? Because that's another foreign concept to this industry, is the art of journaling. And really get it out of your head onto paper and question the belief as to why you are doing this. Am I really doing this for me? What would I rather be doing? Who am I doing this for? And when we let it swirl in our head, Tiffany, it all makes sense. But when we get it out on paper and it's facing us, now we've got to make a decision.
This is why I avoided journaling for most of my life. And my line was, if I go to a therapist and they require me to journal, I'm out.
Right. Why?
Because the truth fucking comes out when you write it down. And it's staring right back at you. Even if your handwriting's as bad as mine, that shit's staring right back at you. And it takes away the veil of denial. And in my opinion, and I definitely want to hear yours, sometimes not knowing the truth can feel easier, because once we know the truth, then we have to do something about it.
Then we have to take action. And
What have been some reasons that people have said to you when they're like, no, I really don't want to be doing this?
because there is something that they have realized they are more passionate about. Something that when they made this decision to come into healthcare, they would have rather have been doing. Usually it's something creative, something that wouldn't have brought in the money, that wouldn't have had the security. That's when they start to question, is this my opportunity to go back and do something that I wanted to do 10, 15 years ago? but convinced myself that because I wasn't going to have the money and security in this, that I would go into healthcare instead. We see this with a lot of healthcare providers.
Well, it's also sold. Listen, my other business, as you know, is all in pharma, medical, and healthcare. I used to be a CEO of the second largest dermatology group in the world on the administrative side. And I'm the first to admit this is how we recruited people. Okay. What? Because it is true. There's a shortage of nurses, there's a shortage of practitioners, especially in aesthetics. That is the highest demand, and the biggest shortage are dermatologists and mid-level dermatology providers and people in that aesthetic space that support them. Therefore, job security, higher salary and pay, benefits. And so it's actually true, right? Like, it sounds really responsible. I'm going to go into a field where I have pretty much guaranteed job security, and there's a very clear steps to increase my salary, where I can increase my like professional designation or my training or my tenure, and I get more and more money. So I can see why it would attract people, but you're right. Did they ever ask themselves, do I really want to be doing this?
That's why we end up with so many practitioners that are finding it hard. It's a struggle. There is no flow and it's not easy because when you're working against that resistance, everything feels hard.
It's so scary though, whether you're someone listening who is in a corporate job as an accountant or a project manager, or even if you have a business. I have a separate business that was not lighting me up, and it was very lucrative. And I had to be honest with myself about that. Because why did I start that? That was the more logical approach. Made sense for me because my ass doesn't have a backup plan. I'm my own backup plan. But like, I was afraid to start ProjectME because I didn't want to lose what felt safe to me over here. But you are losing. It is costing you. I mean, all by not doing the thing that you really want to do, it is costing you spiritually, energetically, emotionally, physically, and even financially. But the belief is, I can't do, I'm thinking of a client of mine where she's a nurse practitioner, and she really wanted to have a jewelry line and always wanted it. Like you said, something creative. Normally it's something creative. And she's like, well, my girl, I want to pay the bills. I can't just like start making some necklaces. Right. So what do you say to people who are like, listen, this was confirmation listening to you guys on this episode. I really don't want to do this. I want to do this other thing, but I also have to be realistic here.
Mhm. I say continue what you're doing, right? This is the logical piece of us. We need to be paying our bills. There's no two ways about that. But how can you take that first step of action to pursuing that creative? Then becomes what we call the side hustle, right? There's no reason. And maybe there is a way that you incorporate that jewelry into what you are doing right now. And you get to merge the two worlds for the moment. So this is, there are a million ways to make $1 million. You get to choose. Do not box yourself into what society has told you need to do. The more you tap into your creative mind, the more opportunities you're going to see. And I do believe as healthcare providers, cosmetic injectors, aesthetic providers, that is one thing that we don't allow ourselves to do because we're in this hustle and bustle of always trying to do more. For a moment, if we were stopping to have fun and get creative again, what sort of opportunities would we allow ourselves to see? And so my advice to clients that come to me like that, there is no reason that you cannot start and still be able to maintain the security that you have until you're able to break away when it feels comfortable to you.
When people come to you, countless people, where they say, my books aren't full. I'm not getting the clients, but I'm doing all the things, and look how cute my treatment room is. And I'm posting all the stuff and no one's coming. If you were to boil down the main reasons why likely you're not getting consistent high quality clients, doesn't matter if you're in New York City, you're in Toronto, you're in bumfuck Iowa.
Yeah.
What what are the reasons?
What I'm about to say is going to be very unconventional, but it is the truth.
We're hoping for this.
I believe, it is my opinion, that if you do not know yourself, you do not know your clientele. Therefore, you do not know how to position yourself in order to attract them into your business.
Ooh, that's good.
This is why I say aesthetics is not about the art of injection and facials. That is a part of it, but it is a journey to self-discovery. Those that decide they are going to invest in their personal development are the ones who are going to succeed. The more you learn about yourself, the more you will be able to show up and speak to that clientele who we know is not looking for the service, but is looking for that emotional connection to who you are at a deeper level. But if you don't know yourself at that level, how do you show up? And so if you're attracting clients into your business who are sporadic and maybe not who you ideally want to be, I hate to tell you, but you've got to go take a look in the mirror because your clients are staring right back at you.
1,000%. And I even notice in myself, because we all go through waves and seasons. And if I'm in a space where I'm up leveling, so to speak, and I'm in fear and I have stuff going on, I end up attracting clients who are riddled in fear, in resistance. And because of the work I've done, I can go, oh, I see what's going on here. Because I'm in resistance, I'm attracting resistance. Well, I like to say, like attracts like. It's no, it's not lost on me that I've coached you, right? You're one of my private clients. I think you guys can gather from our personality types, right? Very direct, very introspective, a lot of wisdom, right? Like attracts like. But if you're attracting no people, no showing you, not paying you, flaking out, ask yourself the question, where am I doing that in my life?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how, and I've said this straight up to people where, like in my mastermind, there's a couple people that, I mean, this is not cheap. Okay. Like they're paying a lot of money to be in it and they're not showing up to the sessions. And I find that fascinating, yet they're paying. And I said, do you find in your business that you have people not showing up and following through on their homework, on their coming to the sessions? Oh, yeah, it happens all the time. I find it so strange because they've paid me all this money. Absolutely no awareness that they're doing it themselves, which is our job as coaches to lovingly point that out.
I love that you said that. And the reason is, I think the word coach, I'd love to hear your opinion on this, has been overused in the industry, particularly the aesthetic space, because we have strategists, consultants, and advisors and mentors, in my opinion, who are very different from coaches, advertising themselves as a coach. There is no strategist that I am aware of that is going to tell you, go look in the mirror. They are going to tell you, go buy the product, right?
Exactly.
The productivity app. You need to be more scheduled. You need to start looking at your numbers. You need to start doing this. And the fact of the matter is, you don't need any of that. You need to start changing your thoughts and your beliefs and breaking those mental barriers that are preventing you from looking at your numbers, from being time efficient. And so I love the fact that you brought up the word coach.
I hated when I first decided to come into the online space 5 years ago. I'm a well-known consultant in the business to business world. And I was like, I'm gonna call myself a coach. What the fuck is that? I didn't like that. But I've embraced it because I agree with you. A true coach is there for your greatest good and well-being overall, is there to point out things that you don't see that's going to elevate you. That doesn't mean you don't get strategy, you don't get the how-to, you don't get the action steps, but you're being coached through your resistances and fears. So buying courses or working with people, like you said, that are, I'm going to teach you how to grow TikTok. That's okay. But if you don't have an actual coach, this is why I have literally 3 coaches at all times for different particular areas of my life. You're screwed because now you're coaching yourself. And usually that doesn't go well.
No, because you're stuck to your own limitations. You don't even know
You don't
what's
you don't know what you don't know.
That's
Like
right.
you really don't. Just like these 2 ladies who are lovely in my mastermind. I knew it was genuine, zero awareness. And they even said that I had no, yes, they owned it, right? Like, you're right. Like, I could sit here and make an excuse, like I'm busy, the kids, da da da, but truly I wasn't prioritizing it. So why would I expect my clients or potential clients to prioritize it?
The analogy that I like to use when people say, well, why should I work with you? What is it that you bring to the table? Because my messaging does not speak to the strategy or the things that they are immediately looking for.
Right? Like how to go viral with Instagram reels or shit like that.
And so, an analogy that one of my coaches used that really anchored me was, you're in a dark room right now and you're tripping over all this furniture. And the furniture is your thoughts, your beliefs. I am here to pull back the curtain to bring light into the room so that you can start moving the furniture, so that you can stop tripping over it. I love the fact that you said what we do as coaches doesn't negate the need for the strategy and the blueprints. That always has to be there. The question that I bring to the audience is, why do you think it's always given away for free? Because you cannot execute on it without having the thoughts, the beliefs, the lifting of the limitations to actually implement it.
This is why, guaranteed, I'd even say 100% of the people who are listening have unfinished courses, unfinished books, unopened freebie PDF things on their computers. It's not because that information sitting there, I'm sure, is valuable to some extent. It's your beliefs, it's your resistance, it's your subconscious program, it's all this other stuff we're talking about that is preventing you from prioritizing this stuff and following through in order to do it.
100.
So
No.
at some point, I know it's shiny object. I know how sexy all these things are. And it's like, this is what I need. And this is my one thing. And they're going to teach me a funnel and I'm going to get an email sequence that's done for you. Or let's get into this. You really want to get me going, this AI thing.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to have AI do all of my social media captions and all of my emails and my website copy and all of this stuff. And I'm just going to have, you guys, pretty content and content that is done that does not equal profits because, like we've talked about, there is no heartfelt emotional connection to your specific ideal client. There's no intimacy and trust being built with a bot.
That leads you back to having to do the hard work that they are avoiding, which is understanding yourself to understand your client and build messaging that provides value to the audience you want to attract.
Do you feel the people in your particular space that you could vouch for that are genuinely like making some serious coin? Are they successful because of these reasons? They might not talk about these reasons, but would that be the reason why they're successful?
Absolutely. And here's the funny thing. I can see it as a coach. They may be still unaware of that is the reason why they are successful.
They might not even be able to identify this as the reason innocently. So
Yeah.
therefore, they're not teaching this or sharing it, but you can just tell, which is true. I can tell. You can tell. We call it when someone's done the work. We see each other. We give each other the nod. I've had people like on podcasts or like clients where I'm like, you've done a lot of work, girl. Like, I'm nodding to you, like acknowledging it because that shit ain't easy.
I think the quote was, the success you are looking for is in the work that you are avoiding.
It seems easier and faster to do all this strategy stuff, but it's actually the long way and the expensive way because you're going to do all that stuff. Get the pretty, if you have a brick and mortar, make the thing pretty. You're going to maybe even hire someone to do graphics for you, pay a bunch of money for a website, pay for all these certifications, pay to learn this, pay to learn that, taking all this information. Now you've spent all of this money and there's very little ROI because you're continuing, and maybe innocently you didn't know until listening to us today. So this is your sign.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of people listening to this show right now who are like, you first of all, you guys drop this in comments on YouTube, ProjectME TV on YouTube. You guys comment in real time. I know you love doing that. And put in there, I'm called out. Because you already know, right? Like there's a part of you that knows you've been avoiding some stuff. And usually people don't start digging into it, investing and working on it until they're in enough discomfort and pain.
I'm also not going to sit here and tell the audience that I didn't experience this myself. And that's why I can sit and talk about it to you today. I went down the roads. I bought the ebooks. I did the courses. I invested in the strategy. I did all the things. It wasn't until I started working with coaches that the light started to be exposed. My level of self-awareness started to rise because your business will only be successful as you are self-aware. So the more layers you peel back, the more successful you become, because the only ceiling is your mind, right? The only limit is your mind. And so having conversations like this is not to call you out, but is to call you to rise.
Yeah, it's time.
Mhm.
And you have that feeling inside of you when you know it's time, or maybe it's time to go deeper, or it's time to go to another level. So, do you have any memory of when you got like a zing, when you were like, okay, I see what's going on here. I've got some more work to do?
It came after multiple investments.
And not getting a significant payoff.
That's right. The ROI that was expected, the answers that I was looking for, I was looking for it outside of myself. I had all the answers within me. I was blinded by my thoughts. The moment I started to take off those handkerchiefs or those blindfolds, everything I was looking for from these strategists, from these courses, was revealed to me. That's why, to tell the audience, you asked, what is that first step that you need to take before you make these investments, is to even sit down for a strategy session with somebody who is a coach to help you, guide you to those right first questions to ask yourself before you make those big investments, even into training. I think our industry has it backwards. Let me train to see if this is something I can force myself to like, versus let me look at myself, ask the hard questions, then make those investments. Those seem to pay off quicker than the conversations with somebody like yourself or myself.
But it doesn't sell. Most people, if I led with, let's just say, mindset stuff,
Mhm.
and then I had a whole launch where it was how to make money online doing what you love, or as an example,
Mhm.
we already know which one would sell. So what I do is I grab you guys with the shit that you want and I deliver on that, but then I give you what you really need.
Mhm.
Because going after this other stuff, it's like stretching at the gym, right? It's like you don't realize how badly and how you need it and how important it is until you're fucked.
100.
I remember when you came to me and you were investing in a whole team doing a lot of your copy, and we were looking at your copy and there wasn't much emotion in it, and it was guarded because you were guarded with your own stuff that you needed to work through, and therefore your copy read as guarded. And I remember seeing that in you and working through that, and I do remember when the light turned on with that, where it started making sense, because putting words on a page is information,
Right.
and that's not vulnerable.
No.
What's vulnerable is doing the vulnerable connection through words, through video, through photos. But you didn't realize you were doing it, right? You were like, I hired people who are, I don't know what they're called, copyright experts, marketing experts.
I released my power, Tiffany. I released my power to people outside of myself who I thought could do it better than me. And when I started working with you, the realization didn't come at session 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. The light bulb went off pretty close to the end, if you
Yeah.
were.
Yeah, I do remember. And that's very common. I'm sure you see that with your clients too.
And that's the way it's this, and I'm saying this to the audience listening today, coming on to work with a coach, know that it's not session 1, 2, 3. That's all the bullshit that you have to get out of the way that has been clogging you for so long. Then we can get to the real work. And that's what you and I did.
I'm glad you're saying this. I don't think this is talked about enough either. Maybe because people are afraid to say it because it's not going with like the microwave approach. My coaches, my life coach, I'm going a year and a half. My subconscious mindset coach, I think a year and a half. I mean, like, these are long-term line items, regular line items on my business that are non-negotiable for me. This isn't like, oh, I did their 8-week gig. Now, there's some things I do, like I'll go do like a retreat, like a business retreat, or maybe I'm like really interested in doing a particular mastermind that has a start and end. But for the true coaching, honey, I'm in this shit for the long haul.
I love that you said that, because the change comes through repetition, right? Our brain's been wired a certain way for so long that we expect going to an 8-week mini mind is going to shift everything that has been ingrained. And the truth is, it is in this constant repetition that the brain starts to rewire itself. And we're fooling ourselves if we think an 8-week is going to change us. Now, what I think is important about this industry, Tiffany, is that most of what we're seeing are 2-day courses, right?
Fast.
Yeah. Maybe a 6-week coaching. So what we decided to do here at the Aesthetic Loft, starting to understand that this is a gap in the industry. If your change is happening on repetition, can we be the first in the industry to bring out something that allows you to be in a space that you are getting this mindset shift on a regular basis, helping you to make those connections in your mind different over a course of time, versus you going to a conference and hoping things are going to change, or attending a 2-day course, or even a 6-week mini mind. We want to show up to give you something that is repetitive.
Like ongoing, genuine support and development. So what is it? Is it a membership or what is it?
Yeah. So what I discovered, and I think I would love to hear your opinion on this. A lot of time people come to us already knowing what they want, but they need a soundboard. I want to bounce this idea because I can't tell friends and family, nor can I speak to other injectors in the industry. And I need somebody who understands my position. I just want to talk. That gives me the opportunity to then start to look, well, maybe where the curtain needs to be pulled back, the stories you're telling yourself and the beliefs. And so we've created a membership on the back end.
This deeply pleases me. Okay, go ahead.
Right?
Sorry.
That you have an opportunity to do just that. Not only that, the space that we have created is safe and non-judgmental of people who are of higher level. So your reference group now is everybody wants to see you rise, but you also get to learn about what other people are experiencing and sitting and listening to the coaching that's happening with that person and being able to take and extract what might be applicable to you.
I love that. What's it called?
This is called Beyond the Clinical.
Oh, what a great name. Love it.
Let's go.
I'm a sucker for a good name. And is this available for people to join at any time? How does this work?
Yes, anytime. So they can come to my Instagram at Aesthetic Loft, drop me a DM. We get in a conversation, make sure you're a good fit for the program, right? And then I give them the details. So this is an ongoing open program for them.
This is a high level membership. This isn't some janky $7 thing, you guys. So don't be thinking that's what this is.
Yeah. I'm not coming in to give you. It's funny you say that. I was looking at memberships in our space, and a lot of it is built around $25 a month, $50 a month. Why? Because our own mindset is people aren't going to want to pay $500 a month for a membership. So I might as well just give them the $50 and then knock them a few value pieces in there that aren't really transformational. But if you're looking for real change in an affordable way, because we know the coaching space, especially when you get high level, is expensive, right? It's not expensive. It's a big investment if you want to change. We're going to give you an opportunity. It's not as customized as one-on-one, but it's definitely a great starting point to help you to start making those shifts that you expect.
I love that. And we'll make sure you guys, you can go in the description on YouTube or swipe up, and everything, her Instagram, all the stuff will be in the show notes. And even if you're not right in this space and you still want to take a look at how someone is operating and pick up on the vibe of how someone who's operating, who does the work. I mean, you already are familiar with me, but I would look at, you're a great example of a coach who's like done the work, who continues to do the work, who's humble and willing, who serves at a high level of integrity. It would be an interesting experiment for you to watch the content, absorb the content, and see if you can feel it. There's no way you can't feel the difference, right? I can feel the difference almost immediately. Granted, I am an empath, I'm a highly sensitive person, but just like you can sense when you're walking through a mall and you get like attacked by the people from the kiosks people,
Right?
right? Like sometimes once in a great while, one of those people gets me because they are so overjoyed and delighted and passionate to be doing it.
Absolutely.
Versus the person who's like texting, could care less. Like, who do you think's going to get more business and have more success? We're really not faking it. Like when I was a newscaster, at a certain point, I hated it. Okay. It was very stressful business. And I thought I was faking it. You really can't fake it. Even if you're reading off a teleprompter and your makeup's done and shit, like we're really not pulling it off. Who we're really faking it to probably is just ourselves.
Huge point. Huge point. Nobody cares about you enough to care that you're faking it.
Exactly.
I'd also like to tell the audience very quickly, I worked with you almost 2 years ago.
Wow, it's been that long.
The moment I worked with you, I set the intention that I was going to be on your podcast, or that you and I would be having a conversation one day.
Wow.
And it is in a book that I came back to today. And this is the art of manifestation, of which I know that you are really talking about. I was on your page and I've been listening to your podcast and I've been in your space. Know that when you set the intention and you continue to take the action steps too, because you've always been a part of my journey, even at a level where I couldn't see you. I knew that you were paying attention. It was only this week or that you came out and a post caught you, and you probably, maybe, I'm not sure, maybe saw the transformation from when you and I worked. But to the audience, manifestation is a real thing.
It's just not always in the timing our ego wants it in. Like she said, it's been 2 years. And to answer your question, this is how it works on the other side, on how our energy is matched, is there was more work you needed to do and implement things. I absolutely, because I follow your shit, and I absolutely felt the shift. Not even saw it. I felt the shift, and like as like a wise old coach over here, I was like, okay, sis is real. She's okay. I like what I'm seeing here. And then all those things started happening with all my clients who were in various aspects of the beauty world. I was like, this is insane. And because of how you market yourself, not just because you coached with me,
Mhm.
but because your marketing is clear, who was the first fucking person I thought of? You. And like attracts like. So I know my audience would appreciate your candor, right? And your introspection and transparency. So you guys see how that works. I appreciate you sharing that. How freaking cool is that? What great evidence.
And you made another great point there. You always say it, the riches is in the niches. And when you come to my page, it is very clear who I serve. And so you said when you were looking for somebody, this is the importance of narrowing your focus sometimes, guys, is when she was thinking of somebody who could serve her audience in this space, because my messaging was so clear around that, I was the first to come to mind, or one of the people to come to mind.
No,
So
you were the only person who came to mind.
thank you.
No, I'm dead ass. You're the only person, because this manifestation was already in the works and
That's right.
conspiring. So there couldn't have been anyone else.
Right. And when
This
it's
is
ready.
how this had to happen at this exact time. And you're listening to this episode or you're watching on ProjectME TV. Trust that you're also listening and watching this right now at the right time. Something we said woke you up. This, in fact, was a sign.
Mm.
There's a message in here. Maybe you need to re-listen to the episode, and there's something that's going to stick out. Or maybe days from now, when you're taking a shower or cooking dinner, you'll have a revelation from one of the questions that you pointed out. Because there's so many things you could be doing and listening to, but you're here for a reason, especially staying through the episode. I mean, I think we're rather interesting and charismatic. So, I mean, you should stay. But
Uh,
when I listen to a piece of content, or I come across a video on TikTok or YouTube or whatever, and I hear a message, I know I was supposed to hear that message. It's a divine message. There's a gazillion messages coming at us all the time.
that's right. You made another important part that I think the audience would have an appreciation for, maybe for a later podcast. Both you and I come from the marketing space. I spent 15 years in medical device sales and marketing. Your background is also in that. I don't think there's enough voice in the space from that side who has moved to the other side to say, hey, wake up, because this is what we are doing to you. Let me raise your level of awareness here so that you can start become more discernible in your decisions, because now you have this information from people who are wanting to have an impact on a greater level and see you succeed.
Ooh, that would be a great episode idea.
Thought I would plant that seed because I know I would have loved it.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. Well, you guys, swipe up in the description on YouTube. You can Get everything in the show notes. Take a screenshot of this episode, share it on social media, tag us. She's at Aesthetic Loft. You already know mine at Project Me with Tiffany. And share this episode with someone who you know will appreciate it. Maybe it's one of your practitioners or someone you see, or your esthetician or a friend of yours, someone who's torn on, should I really be doing this, or I don't want to be doing this anymore, but I'm afraid. This is the episode that they need to hear to be able to answer that question for themselves. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
And before you go, a game changer awaits. Say goodbye to the grind and hello to the good life cash, where you are doing less and making more. So go grab one of the few that are remaining of my Make More Work Less guided workbook course. This is a shortcut to the life you love, because I've spent 16 years studying it, implementing it, and teaching it to millions of people. So you can save $200 right now, but it's on a limited supply run. Go to projectmewithtiffany.com/make more work less. Swipe up, links in the show notes and in the description here on YouTube. Your next money chapter starts now.